The video that I did making a stamp on my Glowforge is one of the most popular videos on this channel. You can find that right here. And yet, stamp making isn't something I do very frequently because it takes so long on my Glowforge. So I hadn't actually tried making a stamp in my Thunder Laser. But recently I started thinking about some things that I might want to add to my back to school options in my shop, or just for fun for my packaging. And I really wanted to try out making a stamp on my Thunder Laser. You are not going to believe these results. It is incredible how much faster it is and how much more I like the result that I'm able to get. So today I'm gonna walk you through how to make a stamp on your Thunder Laser, specifically for my Nova 24, but you could do this with any Thunder Laser. You'll just need to adjust your settings slightly. This is a great Lightburn tutorial, as well as the specifics of how to make a stamp. Preparing a stamp in Lightburn is great. You can't do some of these things that we're gonna do in Lightburn in Glowforge unless you have premium software or you have a design tool. So I'm gonna show you in Lightburn how you can prepare a stamp completely from scratch. So we'll do a text only stamp, and then I will show you how you can bring in an SVG and prepare it as a stamp. Again, you cannot do this in Glowforge unless you have premium software. So if you're looking at what is the right laser to start with, and you're thinking about maybe getting a Nova 24 versus getting a Glowforge, and stamps are on your radar, this is the video for you. Or if you're just ready to make a stamp on your Thunder Laser, I'm gonna show you how to do it. And I did run these on my Glowforge as well, just so you can get a time comparison and see the difference in the results if you wait till the end where I will show that off. Hi, I'm Katie, and this is Things Katie Makes, where we talk all things lasers to help your confidence in your laser journey. Remember, you can laser, you just need the confidence to get started. You're gonna be able to do anything you wanna do, you just have to work through what it looks like on your laser. All right, are you ready to get into it? Let's get going. What do you need to make a stamp? You really don't need much. You're gonna need some stamp material. I really like this gray stamp material versus the traditional orange, just because it makes less mess and is easier to clean up. I'll have all the things I use in the description below. And then you really just need to decide how you're gonna mount your stamp. You can either mount it to a clear acrylic block that you make, one that you purchase. You can get some of these wood blocks. Also, don't have to mount them if you don't like to use a mounting, and you know how to use the acrylic blocks that way. I'm not gonna go through how to mount the stamp in this video. If you want to check that out, you can go check out this video here where I go through using some foam and mounting to a wooden block. There aren't a lot of steps, so this is a project you can have done pretty quickly. You'll set up your design in Lightburn, send it to your laser, clean the remaining residue off with a toothbrush and your favorite cleaner, and you're done. And that's it. Let's head over to Lightburn and I'll show you how to make this stamp from scratch and then how to prepare an SVG to be ready to be engraved as a stamp. All right, so let's create our stamp in Lightburn. We can do everything that we need to within Lightburn, which is wonderful. If you don't have a comfort level in a design tool like Adobe Illustrator, you can just do this right within Lightburn. And I'm going to show you how to do it with both text and then bringing in an image and making the changes that you need. So if you're using something like Creative Fabrica, or you bought images somewhere and you want to bring them in to make a stamp, we're going to do that as well. So let's start with our text. I have a font duo that I really like called Hearth and Home, and it has a script font and a sans font. So we're going to start with the script font for the words thank you. And then we will switch over to another text with the sans for shopping small. And I'm going to go ahead and line those up how I want them to look before I work on the sizing exactly of this whole thing. I'll do that all at once. And because I have my lock on up here, I can go ahead and just drag from the corners to resize. All right, so I like the way that looks with the U in between the for shopping small, but I don't love my overlaps. So I'm gonna see if I can change this up just a little bit to get those overlaps looking a little better. I'm gonna see if I use the alternates on this font, if I like that better. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is the alternate version of that font, and that just gives me that shorter K, which makes this fit a little nicer in here, and I can tighten it up a little bit. So I love looking for font duos if I am out shopping for fonts, which I frequently am, because they are designed to work together. So typically they will look really great together, and they make it easier when you're trying to think about using 2 different fonts within a design. You generally don't want to go over 3 fonts in any design, but 2 is a nice break and gives you some nice variety. So having 2 fonts that work together is great. All right, so now that I have those ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and see how large they are. And I want my overall stamp width to be 2 inches. So I'm going to change my width to 2IN, and that is my stamp size. Now, I know that I don't want that to be the part that engraves, because that would be a cool stamp, but that's not the look that I'm going for. I want this to be the actual image stamped is the words rather than the outline of the words. So I need to go in and I need to swap this. So there's 2 different ways to do this. The first one that we're going to do is, since I know that I'm going to cut an edge around this, I'm actually going to go ahead and make a little rectangle and then just cut these words out of that rectangle. The alternative would be to create a very small outline over this and then just cut it out of that. So we're going to do it with the rectangle. So we're just going to create a rectangle over this, and we're going to make it actually a 2.25 inch rectangle. And we will center that on our words. Okay, so I have my words there grouped. Actually, they're not grouped. I'm going to group them all together. And then I'm going to bring my words on top of my stamp area here. And then I'm going to round my corner, and I'm going to go into the shape properties and modify my corner radius here. I'm going to go 2 millimeters there. And then maybe I'm going to bump this guy up just a touch. Okay, and I like that positioning. So now all I need to do is I actually want to engrave this entire orange area. So I could leave it just like this, but I also can cut out the words. So I'm going to select everything, and then I can choose the subtract option, and now I have just 1 image. So that is actually ready to go. The only additional thing that I need to do is if I want to cut the stamp out, which you can do, you can also just choose to hand cut your stamps. The engraving part is the hard part. You can hand cut your stamps instead, but since I want to go ahead and cut those stamps, I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it. Actually, should have done that first. Let's go all the way back. So we're going to undo to where these are still 2 unique shapes. Okay. And I'm going to copy and paste this off on a different space. And I'm going to go ahead and just change that to a cut line, knowing that I'm going to use that and line it up to my final image. So I'm going to go back and do what we did before, which was to grab everything. If you're going to grab from the top left corner, you need to remember that you need to grab everything. If you grab from the bottom right corner with the green box, anything that it touches will be included. So even though I'm not grabbing everything there, everything's included. Where if I go from this way, I have to make sure to grab everything that I want. Now I'm going to go ahead and use that subtract again for this. And now I just have the 1 image. And what I will do is I will grab these 2 and I will go ahead and center. I will use this center and just center them together. That little bullseye, that's what that's called. That little bullseye to get them both centered. So now my stamp is ready to go, with the exception of I need to actually reverse this right before I engrave that so that it will stamp down correctly. And this looks like it could be a pretty delicate stamp, so we'll give it a shot. I'm gonna group that together so that I don't lose it. Now let's go ahead and try this again with the same idea, but using the outline method. All right, so now if we want to make this more of just the organic shape around the letters, we can go ahead and do that by starting with our text and then doing an offset of what we'll engrave. And then you can manually cut that out by hand, or we can also make that a cut. So I'll show you how to do that. So let's start with our text. So we have our hearth and home alternates, and we will write out our thank you. We want to make sure that we merge that because we don't want any weird little engravings in that. So we've got that thank you ready to go. And now we will get more text with that hearth and home sans serif font. And since I grouped that and I made a mistake there, I need to actually delete it and start over. So I'm going to go back to my alternates because I like that capital Y. All right, so I like that. Like now I can go ahead and merge that so that I don't have that challenge right there. Okay, so now that I have that ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and make this the size that I want. So let's say that I want this one a little bit smaller. I want it 1.5 inches. And now I want to go to my tools, and I'm gonna go to my offset shapes. And I'm just gonna offset right around that at that 3 millimeters. Let's see if we can go a little smaller, 2.5 maybe, 2.8. Just so we have that kind of organic shape around there. And all we want is those outward shapes because we're gonna engrave all the way around to just have this raised portion. And we don't want to delete our original objects because we still want that to sit there. And then we're going to go ahead and say, okay. And from there, that's our engraved portion. But we also need to make a copy of this. And we want to go ahead and make that a line as well, like we did before. And now that we have our two, first we will group these together, and then we will grab everything and we will use our Boolean subtract to make sure that this is just one big piece. Now that's one big piece. We can select both of these and use the bullseye to get them centered on each other again. And so now I have just my two different options for how this stamp could be cut. I'm only going to cut one of them for the example, but now you understand how you get those two different shapes. Make sure you group this together before you move it. And that is Command G on your Mac. So now you can see how we have those two different shapes. You can do it either way, whatever your preference. If you want that edge, you could also put an edge around that. It just really depends on how, if you're trying to fit something to a specific stamp size or if there's a look that you like better, really personal preference. Now, what if you found a graphic that you want to use from somewhere else? I found this really cute graphic on Creative Fabrica that I thought we could use for this, and it's already ready to go, so let's try it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in this graphic that I found, and there will be a link for the graphic down in the description, as well as a link to download these SVGs that I just created for this stamp. If you want to make these stamps as well, either on your Glowforge or on your Thunder Laser, or any other Ruida Lightburn device that you want to make a stamp on. So we are going to go into Lightburn. I want it to go actually into this same file. I don't want that to be in a different file, so I'm going to import this into this same file. Woo, it's huge. So let's make it about the size we want. So let's make it a 1.5 inch size. And let's pick that up. All right, so we've brought this image in from Creative Fabrica, and you actually could go ahead and make this a stamp right as it is. You might want to make an offset just to make a cut line, but right now that S is actually going to be what stamps down that shopping word. And then the outsides of thank you for shopping small. But I think we want the stamp to actually be the outside of that shopping word. So we're gonna do what we did before, and we're gonna offset our shapes. So we're gonna go Tools, Offset Shapes. So the options that we're gonna land on are 2 millimeter offset distance. We're gonna go outward. We're gonna use a round style. We don't wanna delete, actually in this case, we can delete our original objects. But if we do that, then we won't have our cut line. So you don't want to delete your original objects. You want to make sure that you subtract them instead. So we're going to say, okay. And now we are going to, before we subtract that, we're going to copy that outer shape and set it aside and put it into our cut line. Now I have everything selected, and you can tell that you're able to use the function when you see that it is dark. It'll be grayed out when you can't use it. So we're going to go ahead and Boolean subtract. And now we should have just one object instead of two. And then we will go ahead and grab these two together and do our little bullseye to move them right into the center, and then we will flip it. And there you go. That's ready to make a stamp as well. Now, stamp settings. So for stamp settings, what I found, I was looking on a blog, I will link it below, and the suggestion was to use on a Nova 24, 300 speed and 75 power for only one pass. And I tried that and I did the results, but this is so fast that I decided to do 2 passes, and I absolutely love 2 passes. So I am using 300 speed, 75 power, 0.065 line interval, and 2 passes. And this actually, I should fill shapes at once. That was a mistake. And I love the way that this turns out. You get a really nice, deep, clean engrave, and it still goes really fast relative to what I was doing on my Glowforge. For the cut, I'm actually using something similar to acrylic with that 1560, so I'm just putting it on my acrylic layer. and it's ready for me to go ahead and send it. Now, if I wanted to do one of these at a time, you can use the cut selected graphics mode here. And so you can select one of these, choose cut selected graphics, and that will send just that one to your laser. So that's an option if you wanted to keep a whole bunch of things in one file, but only send one at a time. So I'm gonna go ahead and send these two to the laser, and we will see the result. This one is the one that I made on my Thunder Laser, and then this is the one that I made on my Glowforge. Now you can see these little lines that are still there where you can see where the Glowforge was moving back and forth, and it's a little bit messy. This is a lot cleaner. It's a little bit difficult to see here, but the depth of this one is deeper than this one. So I'm not worried about getting any of the ink onto the stamp. So this one also is the one made on the Thunder Laser versus the one made on the Glowforge. So you see there's still, even with cleaning it out really well, there's still a little bit of mess in there versus this one that's just really clean. Especially given how fast that was, I am just really thrilled with those results. I also went ahead and engraved these blocks for my stamps. I just love the way that looks. I think that is such a nice addition, especially if you want to sell them, to have that engraved top. I think it makes a really beautiful standout look. You could also engrave a small logo on the other side just to show that it's yours. Can you believe how fast that was on the Thunder Laser? Just over 6 minutes to create those two stamps, and it took over 33 minutes on my Glowforge, and I don't like the results as much as what I have on the Thunder Laser. The Thunder Laser is more smooth, the imprint is deeper so that I don't have to worry about getting ink all over the stamp. I would feel so much more confident selling stamps made by my Thunder Laser than I ever did with anything made on my Glowforge. So this is a place where I am really excited about the opportunities that this has now that I feel confident using my Thunder Laser to create stamps. Some tips to remember: you want to use the wide lens, the 6mm, this one with the bigger opening. And normally when you engrave, you want to leave your air low, but in this case, you'll want to use high air because it helps to blow all the dust out of the way and keep that engraving nice and clean as you're going. You'll also see in my video of my stamps on the laser bed, I just put an old piece of plywood underneath my stamp material because I like to cut on my knife blades and I didn't want to have to put in my honeycomb tray. So anytime that you need something to help keep something level, you can just use an old scrap piece of something, and either your settings will cut all the way through both, or it will just cut through your stamp and maybe make a little marking on your backing material. But that's an easy way if you don't feel like putting your honeycomb tray in for one or two things. You can just use something underneath, and that's why you see that wood in my video. I would love to know what kind of projects you'd like to see next. I'm working on a course that will teach you from start to finish all of these things that you need to know so that you can confidently laser. And I'd love to know what kind of projects you'd like to see in that course, as well as here on the channel. If you haven't liked or subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it. I would love to be able to do more of this, and the more views that I can get on these videos, the more I'm able to do. If you're looking for more support, head on over to Laser Maker School on Facebook. You can find the links in the description to join our awesome community that's growing there. We go live weekly to talk about different topics related to lasers and laser businesses.